Welcome to the Speak Up Podcast, a topical discussion platform that aims to raise awareness of mental illness through telling your mental health stories. Do you want to learn how mental illness affects others in society? Do you want to be a part of spreading awareness and challenging stigma? Tune in and listen to people's testimonials. Better yet, if you like an episode, please consider sharing it across your social media. This helps us grow as a podcast. Now, over to your host, Ash, for the next episode.
Howdy folks, you're listening to the Speak Up podcast. It's season 3, episode 9, and I'm your host Ashley. And today we've got Silvia, clinical psychologist and also head of content at Unconscious Moderation. Is that right?
Yeah,
That's right.
yeah.
Yep.
Thank you so much for having me.
Great, that's great. Absolutely, it's a pleasure to have you. Just a quick disclaimer: we're not a medical podcast, so any sort of things we talk about in the podcast are for sort of entertainment purposes only and for informational purposes only. So just for you listeners out there, we're not a medical podcast, so please consult your doctor if you have any concerns around that. And also we might talk about things that are kind of triggering, so sort of listener discretion advised, sort of thing. So we'll jump straight into the questions really. So obviously again, welcome Sylvia. It's nice to have you on.
Yeah, thank you.
Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and why you decided to come on the podcast?
So, well, as you said, I'm a clinical psychologist. I work for Unconscious Moderation, which is an app that helps people have a better relationship with alcohol. It doesn't necessarily mean completely quitting. It can also be learning how to moderate. And I came on the podcast today because as you talk a lot about mental health, obviously a lot of people use alcohol to numb their emotions instead of actually working on the anxiety or any other issues that are going on in their lives. So I believe it's very important to spread the word out there and help people understand that there are healthier tools to deal with difficult emotions, and alcohol is not really a healthy coping mechanism, right? So that's pretty much what we do from Unconscious Moderation. We just try to spread the word.
Brilliant. Yeah, that was great. And from what I understand, you're doing a great job. And I've looked at your website and the app's really, really good. I've not tried it myself yet, but I think I might try it, one day. Just for my own sort of personal journey. Obviously, as we've had a conversation before, I've struggled with alcohol, so I'm currently in recovery at the minute. So that's going okay at the moment. I've had a few lapses, but going okay. So.
Mm-hmm.
But certainly I am intrigued and curious about the app, and it's sort of come at the right time, really. So yeah, I'll definitely have a look at that. And is there a free trial with the app, or is it?
Yes, there's a 7-day free trial. And then after that, it's $30, like USD, because the app is based in the US. But I believe that it's very, like, we wanted to make it very affordable because we didn't want it to make it like a very, very expensive program so people would not take advantage of it. We wanted the program to be very, very accessible so people would actually consider it as a tool. And then if you think about not drinking alcohol for a month, then if you pay $30, you will actually be saving money, because obviously alcohol is so expensive, especially if you go out in a bar or something. $30 is 2 drinks, really. So
Yeah.
so yeah, we wanted to make it like very, very accessible for that reason. I don't really know the conversion in pounds, but I don't know, 20 something pounds,
24 pounds, something like
yeah,
that. Yeah.
around that. So I believe it's quite affordable. And yeah, we put a lot of our knowledge in there. We're a team of clinical psychologists. We put a lot of information and different tools, different techniques. So obviously one can work for me, might not work for you. So we make it a bit broad to be a more adaptable.
Yeah, that's great. And like you said, there's seems like there's a big toolkit in there in the app, and a lot of different tools to get your teeth into, really.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so let's just start from the beginning. We've obviously had this conversation before, and you touched on it briefly in that conversation, but you've got your own sort of personal story with alcohol. Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I've never felt like I had a problematic use of alcohol. However, I did feel like alcohol was having a very, very bad impact in my body. I started drinking like pretty much everybody does. Like you're not a teenager and everybody around you is starting to drink, so you do the same, right? Um, so it was a very social thing for me. But ever since I started, I remember that I would only drink in social gatherings because my body would not react well. My stomach would feel very, very bloated, and I would have very um difficult hangovers, but not physically. They were very, very emotional. And I would be a wreck for like 2 days. So it was not really worth it for me. I just kept drinking during like my late teens and my early 20s only because everybody else was doing it. And I was not um spending the time listening to my body, which now that I look back, I realize that it was a big mistake. But back then, obviously, like I didn't know any better. So that's what I kept doing until one day I had a lot of gut issues and I started losing like a ton of weight in a very short period of time. And I was very bloated and everything, like my stomach was upset with everything that I ate. And I started having like a lot of acne when I had never had acne. And I was like, okay, this is like my body is actually screaming now because I haven't listened to it for years, right? And eventually, I had a lot of gut problems and I
Mm.
treated them for like a year. Obviously, alcohol was out of the window then because alcohol was really, really bad for my body, and I was not in the mood to drink it. And then I had a very strict diet during for a while, but then I started eating gluten again. I started like I don't know, drinking milk again. So all these things that are normally out in any non-inflammatory diet. But when it came to alcohol, I had maybe like some days where I drank and I was like, it's just not, it's not feeling well. And now because I had learned to listen to my body, I was just like, this is not making sense for me to force something that my body is actually telling me or screaming to me and not to drink. So I decided to not drink anymore. And I think that was one of the best decisions I've ever made because I think I learned a lot about myself and about my body as well because I felt healthier. I felt more in touch with what my body needed. And I think that that is a great tool to have the power of knowledge of your own body.
Yeah, definitely. And I can relate to when you say about gut problems and you're feeling bloated and stuff, I can relate to that because for me, I drink like lager and lagers are very bloating,
Mm.
substance and alcohol is in general, I guess. But yeah, I'm surprised a lot more people don't complain of gut problems, with alcohol. I suppose it's quite a inflammatory sort of, it's a poison, isn't it? In your body. So yeah, so obviously, an alcohol can really sort of, um, just to highlight the importance of it. Alcohol can really sort of like at the severe and destroy communities, families, and things like that. And I think there's a big link between, like we've said before in a previous conversation, mental health and alcohol. 86% of those in treatment for alcohol have a comorbid mental health issue, and that's in the UK. That's just one study that I looked at, which I think is staggering, really. The fact that there's that much sort of that level of comorbidity of mental health related concerns. Um, do you think the app could have a really big positive impact on the link between mental health and alcohol?
I really do because the app doesn't focus solely on stop drinking.
No,
We are actually very like we're never going to blame anybody for drinking. We're never going to
no.
make anybody feel bad with their decisions or anything like that. The target or like the goal of the app is for people to know themselves better and then to make choices that are more aligned with their values. But again, people have different values. So what someone might choose might be the opposite, like the opposite of what someone else would want, right? So that's why we make it very open, and we give the possibility to learn how to quit, but then we also promote moderation, right? That's the app along some months ago was called My Dry 30, but then we realized that most of our audience were actually looking to moderate, to reduce their alcohol intake. So that's why we changed the name to Unconscious Moderation, because
Okay.
we wanted to feel more aligned with our audience, right? With the people that were using the program. But again, people can still choose to completely quit with our program. And again, we focus a lot on learning about the reason behind your habits, your drinking habits, right? Because there's always why. There's always a reason why.
Yeah.
And as I was saying before, when I talked about my story, maybe when you're younger, your reasons are more to be included, to feel part of a group, to socialize, right? To get out there and feel less awkward, right? In a
Yeah.
club or in a bar or something like that. But I believe that as we grow older and we stop, or we reduce the times that we go out and drink to socialize, more and more people are using alcohol to, as I said before at the beginning, to numb their emotions
Yeah.
and as a coping mechanism. But again, that is not healthy. To have a drink because you're in the mood to have a drink, because you really like, for example, a lager, that's completely fine. Go for it.
Mm.
But to have a lager or two or five because you've had a very stressful day at work, or because you've had, I don't know, an argument with a loved one, or I don't know, something happened in your life, that is not healthy. That's why we target the why. Because when people understand the reason why they're drinking, then they can make better decisions. They can say, okay, I am trying to mask something, then alcohol is not going to help me. Or is it because I'm in the mood? Then yeah, then of course I'm gonna drink, right? So we help with those patterns where, for example, so a lot of people are stressed after a day of work, and then automatically they think of that glass of wine or that beer or that cocktail, right? And that becomes automatic. So we work with both the unconscious mind and the conscious mind to sort of break those patterns so people can actually see change. Because especially when it comes to substances, habits related to substances like alcohol and other substances, the body creates a tolerance. The body creates a dependency. So when you reduce that amount of alcohol, or you quit, the body asks for it, because the body has gotten used to working normally with that substance. So now it's craving it. It's like the body's like, I cannot work fine without that substance. So the body needs time to relearn that yes, the body can work without that substance. So working with the unconscious mind, then when we do that, we target those patterns that break that cycle of your body thinking that it needs that substance to survive.
Brilliant. Yeah, and it's a really good, and that's where the hypnotherapy comes into it, isn't it, as well?
Mhm.
The
Yeah.
unconscious side of it. Yeah. Um, and obviously we've talked about um again, I keep going back to the in our previous conversation, we talked about the different strands within the app. So there's the hypnotherapy,
Mhm.
the journaling and the exercises and movement. Could you give us a breakdown or a typical breakdown of how the app works?
Yeah. So the app is a 90-day program, where the first 30 days, we encourage everyone to not drink at all, to do a sort of reset, because we know that stopping to drink, even if it's only for 30 days, can actually help the body a lot to give a little of a break, right? I want to add a disclaimer here related to what you said at the beginning of the podcast. If someone is a bit unsure about if they want to reduce their drinking or not, and they feel like they're drinking quite a lot, quitting cold turkey can be a bit dangerous. So
Yeah.
I would always recommend people that want to create that change or explore different options to go to their GPs, their doctors, to check that everything is fine with their bodies, because maybe they are not able to quit completely or to stop drinking completely, and they need to reduce instead. So I always encourage everyone to check with their doctors as well. And that disclaimer is in the app when you download it as well, because we want to be very cautious with that, and we want to, well, we want people to understand that it can be actually quite dangerous. So yeah, the app is targeted for people that maybe have been reducing for a while and they don't really know how to, or people that are more in like a sober curiosity journey, or yeah, people that maybe had they drunk a lot in the past, but they're not drinking that much right now, and they want to even reduce it even more. So it's 30 days of having that reset, where you're going to have 30 minutes a day of different tasks. And then from those 30 minutes, you have 15 minutes of hypnotherapy, so unconscious mind, and then 15 minutes of conscious mind work. So 30 minutes in total. You can break them down, like you can do 15 minutes in the morning and 15 minutes in the evening. And then how the hypnotherapy works is it's not how everyone thinks that it is, like hypnosis in movies, and like I'm gonna swing a pendant in your face, I'm gonna click my fingers, and then you're gone, and I can tell you whatever I want, and you're gonna do it, right? That's not how it works at all. I always say that it's very similar to meditation, because a lot of people have done meditation or have done relaxation, like have watched relaxation videos and stuff like that. It's very, very similar. The only difference is that when you are in that deep state of relaxation, you the hypnotherapy suggests things, right? For example, suggests having better habits or having different choices, right? So little by little, your brain understands that when you're stressed, that connection that I was talking about before, that when I'm stressed, I'm going to drink. Now the brain little by little understands that it's not automatic, that maybe when I'm stressed, I can also go for a walk, or I can also bake a cake, or I can also call a friend, or I don't know. There's many, many possibilities out there, right?
Yeah.
So the brain just opens the mind and sees more options. And that's why I think it's very powerful, because again, it really, the options really depend on the person, because they're very adaptable. And then a lot of people ask me, okay, but if I'm gonna get suggestions when I'm in that deep state of relaxation, what if I hear something that I'm not okay with, or I'm not aligned, I don't feel like I want to do that. And I'm like, if I tell you while you're in that deep state of relaxation, you're listening to hypnotherapy, if I say, you're gonna rob a bank, if you don't want to rob a bank, then you're not going to do it. You're not going to be hypnotized to do it, because the hypnotherapy only helps with the things that you also consciously want to achieve. That's why we work with both, with unconscious work and conscious work, because we do the unconscious work to get to that goal, but then we do the conscious work so then people can do some journaling and do some reading and understand a bit more about the paths that they're going through and the journey, right, of reducing their alcohol intake or quitting completely. So combining these two is what actually creates that change, right? And these different options are very, very powerful, because when you're working with a journaling, people realize their patterns, because it's the journaling, it used to be different words different questions, like how do you deal with anger, or what are you grateful about today, and stuff like that, which again is very, very helpful. It's very nice to do. Excuse me.
So you're right. You're right.
It's a very nice thing to do and very helpful. So if people are doing that, that's great. But then we wanted to do a more targeted journaling, so then it could be even more like meaningful to this journey. So we call it the adventures, and each week you go in an adventure where each day you have a little bit. It's like different episodes of a whole series, and each week is like a season, right? And then you have like a snippet of a story, and you're put in situations where you need to choose. And again, there are not right or wrong answers. You just choose what you feel like you would do, right? And then at the end of the week, we tell you, okay, this is because of this and that, and there's an explanation of all those choices that you made, and the reason behind those, so people can understand their patterns and understand why they keep going on and on into that habit or into that cycle, right? Because I talk to a lot of people that are like, I do want to do something. I have the motivation to change this, but somehow I'm always back to square one
Yeah,
because there's something like there's something that is forcing me to stay where I am. So actually realizing those patterns that are forcing you to stay where you are, um, is is half of the way done. When you realize of those patterns and accept them, then you're 50%, like you've worked already into the 50% until getting there, right? So the work that you have to do is way less than you imagine, because you only have to change that, and that's what we do with hypnotherapy, actually helping you to change that.
that's brilliant. Yeah, so there's like lots of different aspects to it, and I'm quite intrigued actually. I'm definitely going to sign up for the free trial and see what it's like. Yeah. Where's the best place to find out more about the app or to download the app?
So obviously to download the app, they can like people can go to Google Play or App Store, and they will find it. If they tap on conscious moderation, they will find it. But I always encourage people to check our website because everything is explained there. You can see the people behind the program. You can see the content that we've created. You can see loads and loads of things. And if you have any questions, you can always contact us through there as well. So the website is very informative, and yeah, they have the links to the app as well in there. So yeah, the website is um.app, so um.app, and everything's explained there.
That's brilliant. Yes. I had a look on the website. I was quite impressed actually. There's like I said, quite a wealth of information on there as well.
Mm.
Um, so just in reflection, we've talked about um, obviously your journey, the app, and a lot how it works. Um, and if you could give listeners a nugget of wisdom to leave them with something valuable to take away, what would it be?
So I think that a lot of people are afraid of changing the situation that they're in, even though
Yeah.
they might not be um they might not like the situation that they're in anymore. It maybe worked 5 years ago or 10 years ago, but now it's not working for them anymore. But they're scared of making that change because they don't know what's going to happen. They don't know what's on the other side of the bridge, right? So they just choose not to cross it because they're like, I I can control how I am right now. I understand how everything works right now, so I'm not going to make any changes. However, what you're not changing, you're choosing. You're actually choosing not to change,
Yeah.
and you're getting stuck in something that again, that might have worked for you 10 years ago, but it's not working for you right now. It's not making you feel happy. It's not making you feel fulfilled, right? And
No.
life is constantly changing. We feel like we can control more things than we can actually control, but we don't even know if we're going to be here tomorrow. So
Yeah.
we feel like we want to hang or cling on to things so they don't change. But then eventually everything changes. We're in
Mm.
constant change. So I always encourage people to say, okay, yes, you might be very, very scared, but clinging on to this and not changing might actually have even worse consequences that actually creating that change that you are craving and that you are dreaming about, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's great. I mean it's definitely food for thought there, from what you've said. In terms of um making changes and stuff, it's all about, I'd say, like the small things, isn't it, with your mental health, and it leads me into the next point really, which was um just for listeners, this is just for listeners, this, but obviously I'll ask you the question in a minute, but what's one small thing that you could do for your mental health? For me, it's important stay hydrated and to eat the right foods. I think hydration is like hugely underrated, especially with mental health. And when you're dehydrated, you're sluggish, you're fatigued. So I think that's really important to make those small changes every day. But what about you, Sylvia? What's one thing you could do for your mental health this week, or what's one thing that you normally do for your mental health?
I always I'm an extrovert. So for
Yeah,
me, being surrounded by people that I love is what keeps me going. And sometimes when I'm very busy at work or there's a lot of things going on in my life, I don't meet with friends, or I don't see my family as much, or I don't set some time aside to actually have those connections. And then after that, I feel like those weeks are the worst weeks for me because I feel isolated. I feel alone. I don't feel like I have recharged any energy. So for me, it's very important to keep reminding myself that I get a lot of energy from spending time with people that I love. So actually setting aside that time is crucial for me to start the next week with the same energy.
Yeah, that's amazing, and yeah, it's. I think we're social animals, aren't we, as well?
Hmm.
We need social. Even if you're an introvert like me, I'm a bit of a. I still crave social connection, but also only so much of it. So
Yeah.
you know, but
But
yeah,
we are, as you said, we're social. We need to feel loved. We need to feel like we belong somewhere, right?
yeah,
And yeah, even the most introvert person, like the most introvert of my friends, still need to get out there. Maybe they need to recharge like 3 days alone after that, but they do need that connection from time to time because we are part of a group and like by nature we are very social.
yeah, absolutely. Uh, well, thanks for coming on, Sylvia. It's been a pleasure. Yeah, I don't know how long we've been recording for, but yeah, I think a good half an hour, 20 minutes. Is there anything that you'd like to add before we close?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me. I really enjoyed the conversation. I think everything was pretty clear. I always encourage people to try new things. If they're on the fence about like the situation that they're in, or if they've tried different programs and they haven't worked for them, I always encourage people to just give it a try. You have a 7 day of free trial in our app in unconscious moderation. So give it a go and see how it goes. And the worst thing that you could lose is a bit of time, but again, it gives so much knowledge. It there's so many tools in there that I believe it's very, very worth it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think I'll give it a go. Actually, I'll give the app a go and review it as well and see what I think of it. But yeah, it
Yeah, that's great.
sounds like sounds like it's a winner really. So you know what can go wrong in 7 days? You know, it's
Exactly.
you know you've got nothing to lose. So thank you for coming on, Sylvia. And just for you listeners, if you could like, share, and comment across all our channels, and also share this with anyone that needs to hear it, really. If you're struggling, please know that you're not alone as well. And that's it, guys. Really, I'll see you guys for the next episode, and you guys take care. Bye bye for now.
You've been listening to the Speak Up Podcast. If you like this episode, why not check out some of our other episodes on our Spotify? You can also find out more about the podcast on our website in the episode description. If you like what you hear, why not share your content on Facebook or like us on our social media page? Your support helps our platform grow. Thanks for listening.